Vlog on a blog. Tomorrow's news today. Get to the truth. Listen, learn, live. Visit us at yadayah.com.
I love the new introduction. I love the byline, listen, learn, and live.
Yeah.
And I have an affinity for our two co-hosts here. We have Will and Kevin, and we have Rich at the controls. That's a very lovely sight, isn't it? This commander-in-chief is having a really tough time commanding his reflecting pool that he thought he would spruce up prior to America's 250-year anniversary, which he managed to screw up in such magnanimous fashion that nobody showed up, and that the few people that did were totally disgruntled. What happened here yesterday, and normally I wouldn't care about something as meaningless as the reflecting pool in the U.S. Capitol, sandwiched between shrines. But in this particular case, it is so Trumpian as to be worth the discussion. Trump yesterday in a press conference went out of his way to depict the former Olympian, he's in his 60s, that was arrested and incarcerated for allegedly damaging his reflecting pool. And showed him, the gesture is he's got his box knife and that he's the one that did all of this, that Trump's work was just spectacular and perfect. And it was just undermined by this dastardly dude. And he's absolutely lying. So the next day it's announced that his Justice Department has not only released the Olympian from all charges, but it actually says that the U.S. Justice Department owes him an apology, and that this is really a horrible injustice as to what was done. And again, it's a microcosm of who Trump is and who MAGA are, and what is happening around the U.S. Capitol with the likes of ICE and and America as a whole, as it's being turned into the Fourth Reich. So the dateline is Washington, the Justice Department, that would be part of the executive branch. They report to Donald Trump. They are part of the criminal enterprises. Moved Friday to dismiss a criminal case charging former Olympian with deliberately damaging the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool, saying evidence prosecutors had recently received refuted the idea that vandals were to blame. Now, this idea of they had recently received is a bit of posturing. The fact is that that everybody knew long ago that this person did nothing, and that the painting was just peeling off of the pool and it was turning green, because you can't put a dark bottom on a shallow pool of water in a climate that gets into the high 80s and 90s during the day without filtration and chlorine. So government lawyers said in a 20-page court filing, these are now part of Trump's Justice Department, that additional documents provided by the Interior Department since the indictment of David Hearn, he was the former Olympian cyclist in his 60s, 60-year-old boy, a guy against the Lincoln reflecting pool, and he's supposed to be the one who's responsible for it. I mean, the claim was so ludicrous, only MAGAs would believe it anyway. Show that the damage was the result of a botched installation by contractors, as well as a rush to complete the project prior to events associated with America's 250 celebration in the week surrounding Independence Day in 2026. Additional recent visual inspections revealed damage throughout the pool, including the middle, where prosecutors say a vandal would not likely have attempted to peel off the lining. And if you can peel off the lining with your hand, well, that really isn't much of a lining. I've been in construction much of my life, and I have dealt many times with concrete and putting a proper surface on concrete, particularly if you're going to put water in it, because concrete continues to absorb water. It is forever curing, if you will. And there are numbers of things you have to do. And one is that you have to clean that concrete exceedingly well. It is helpful if the concrete is slightly rough on its surface for a paint to adhere. You do not paint it directly. In my case, I will always seal concrete with a product that is specifically designed for that purpose. We use it here in cisterns. We use it here as the underlayment before you put in a tile or other coating in a pool. It creates a watertight texture, and it's brushed on exceedingly thick. You buy this material as well, you can't even call it a paint. I mean, it goes on very rough and very thick. You actually broom it into place, and you never want to rely on one coat, and you never want to apply a second coat until that first coat has had ample time to dry, which is measured in days. And then you apply the next coat, and then only then do you put on a paint sealer or some sort. And typically, if it's something that's going to be subject to the conditions of that reflecting pool, I'll put 2 additional coats of another form, a more rubberized kind of sealer, top of the rough cistern sealant paint. And then we will apply a tile or something that is really ceramic and hard to that. Or if you feel up to it, then you can actually put on a paint. But paints like this, have to be of marine grade. This is really expensive paint when you do it. Of course, Trump knew nothing about any of this. And Trump's a fraud as a developer. And he hired people who had made donations to his administration. He went and told the world that he knew these guys, that they were experts in swimming pools, and he had chosen the color when discussing it with them, and went out and had pictures taken with them. And then when challenged on the botched job that they did, he went and said, I know nothing about them, and I have never met them, and I don't know who they are.
Yeah, typical Trump. Yeah.
Of course, again, this is a damn reflecting pool. Yeah. No one cares about a reflecting pool, and the man is warring against the nation, other nations, and the currency of that nation, and is destroying the reputation of that nation. But it is a microcosm of the fact that this man knows nothing but lies. Everything in his life is a confabulation. So anyway, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what does it say that this guy can't even get the damn reflecting pool done correctly? Biden wouldn't have botched this job. It would have taken forever. They would have used unions or whatever. But this isn't what would have happened. I mean, this was a rush job. Like you said, it's a microcosm of
it's
Trump.
It's a rush job to reward a campaign donor.
Correct.
Yes, that was completely out of their league and applying these surfaces. Yeah. And yet you just have to be smart enough to know you don't put dark blue paint on something that is in a climate where the summertime temperatures get into the high 80s and low 90s, because you're going to sponsor an algae bloom, particularly if you don't cure or treat the concrete before you put on those paints, because it gets too warm, and otherwise you have to chlorinate it. And when it's an unfiltered system, an unrecirculating system, chlorinating it is no easy task. Here to minimize the chemicals, we actually use salt water. So we have a chlorinator that we put bags of salt in, actually in the pool itself, and the chlorinator turns that salt into a chlorine that prevents the growth of these microorganisms. But again, you got to know what you're doing, and the system has to be designed for it, and none of that happened. I mean, the guy as a developer is a complete fraud. It goes on to say that given this newly discovered information, it's difficult to attribute to the widespread damage to the reflecting pool to vandalism. Difficult. Which one we use the right term? Impossible, let alone to establish beyond a fact of reasonable doubt. Even in this, they are unwilling to accept their personal accountability for having taken it to this far. said the filing from the U.S. Attorney, Janine, what's her name here? Janine Pirro. By the way, she is photographed leaving her office over the weekend with a dolly going to her car, carrying boxes from her office. So she evidently couldn't lie well enough for Trump to keep her. And it was Janine Pirro that asked the judge to formally dismiss the case. Hearn's lawyer said that in a statement that the case against him should never have been brought. No kidding, Sherlock. Its dismissal today does not erase the abuse of government and power, arresting and charging a patriotic American who did nothing wrong, the lawyer said. These are government lawyers. The government's approach was ready, fire, aim. The administration, this administration, Donald Trump, owes Mr. Hearn an apology. Donald Trump killed 168 schoolgirls, and rather than apologizing, he tried to blame the Iranians for having Tomahawk cruise missiles. That's the kind of scum we're dealing with. The dismissal marks an embarrassing setback for the Justice Department that billed the prosecution as accountability for damage to a Washington landmark where President Donald Trump had launched a massive renovation project before the country's 250th anniversary celebrations. Trump, without providing evidence, has alleged that the damage was caused by vandals. But the case has long been saddled with evidentiary problems and challenges. Yeah, there's all evidence is to the contrary. Hearn has for weeks maintained his innocence, and supporters have characterized the prosecution as politically motivated by Trump administration to deflect blame and to scapegoat others, which is all that man ever does. Never accepts blame for anything that he is responsible for, always blames others. He is a typical bully. Earlier this week, Hearn's lawyers sought access to grand jury transcripts because of what they said were irregularities in the process. They said a National Park Service official testified that the pool was already damaged before Hearn allegedly touched it, couldn't qualify any damages attributable to Hearn, and said that the same repairs would have been required regardless of his conduct. That was said in the grand jury testimony, which means it proves my point that grand juries are completely and utterly worthless. Completely and utterly worthless. You serve on a grand jury, the cop comes in or the agent representing the government comes in and says, we want this person arraigned because we have reasonable suspicion that they did this, that, and the other thing, and it's always just rubber stamped. Mm-hmm. It's a meaningless part of an archaic process that doesn't have any value anymore. The witness's testimony established that the pool had substantial pre-existing damage requiring repair before any alleged conduct by Mr. Hearn. His lawyers wrote, according to the witness, the pool was leaking more than 1 million gallons of water per week. Its expansion joints had exceeded their service life, and the liner already contained a rip. Yeah, a box knife. That would be what you would get as 1 million gallons a week from a box knife. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Trump and MAGA are just scum. I mean, that's the bottom line. They're reprehensible scum.
How many times has he done this? How many people has he arrested? This is the process that he knows it's going to get thrown out of court.
Yeah.
He knows, no, he's not going to take responsibility.
No, he doesn't know.
But punishing these people, that's his whole objective.
Yeah,
then it goes away, and you never hear about how the guy lost his job and he lost his house.
This guy's addicted to lawfare.
He doesn't know. He's a confabulator. He has there's no correlation between what's in his mind and reality. It's like his deal where he stopped bombing Iran for a night, saying that before he decapitates the country.
Yeah. Mass
murder of 90 million people. He wanted to give diplomacy another chance. When the last bit of diplomacy, he signed an agreement that he violated the next day. And the fact is that there was no meeting prior to when he said they were meeting again and begging for an agreement. Then he came out and said they agreed to every term that he wanted. no uranium enrichment, no nuclear bomb, no control over the Strait of Hormuz, no return of their money, no fees on transport through the Strait of Hormuz, no restrictions, total surrender. And Araghchi and the Iranians said, he's nuts. There are no meetings. We will not meet again until he honors the terms of the last memorandum of understanding that he signed. When he honors those terms, then we can meet again. But between now and then, hell no.
Yeah, I wonder what attorney is going to pick up the civil case on this. Mr. Hearn has a very good civil case against the federal government. This should have never made it to grand jury, okay? The simple fact that a prosecutor says, okay, Park Service, you arrested this man for this crime. Where's your evidence? You have witness, you have an affidavit, you have video evidence, and they have absolutely nothing. The only evidence they have is absolutely to the contrary. With
his
should
claim-
have never made it to...
Yeah, his claim is against Donald Trump. And while the government makes it difficult to sue the government, Congress is now pursuing litigation that would reverse what the Supreme Court did. The Supreme Court just made Trump unsuable. And one of the great mistakes ever by the Supreme Court. And Congress is trying to resolve that calamity. And should they do so, then he would have a case against Trump. But the case he would have against Trump would be for minimal amounts of dollars and be minimal in comparison to the things that Trump has done. Like, for example, the case that now Capital One credit cards, Capital One Bank has against Trump is hugely more important. Yeah. Money laundering. All right, what we're going to do here, this is a clever little play. What it basically says is that Donald Trump, and all evidence confirms this, has been a piece of shit his entire life, that he was a failure in school, that he was always a brat, that he was always an egomaniac and a narcissist, that nothing has changed. He's always treated other people poorly. He's just a two-bit bully in a sandbox, and the lies that he had to pursue to get his deferments for Vietnam with the alleged bone spurs, it just show him to be the kind of idiot he has always been, the kind of guy that admits that he sponsored beauty contests of teenage girls because he wanted to walk into their dressing rooms with them naked and harass them. That's assault. And the one that was not only the best friend of Jeffrey Epstein, but Epstein says he's the most evil man I have ever known. There is no bone in that man's body that isn't crooked. And so he didn't just show up one day this way. He has always been this way. And this is a clever rendition of it. After we play this, we'll play Leia's two songs that are even more biting regarding the fraud that is Donald Trump, because we're going to take it from, he's not just a narcissist. He's not just a psychopath. He's not just the bully in the sandbox. He is Satan incarnate, and he proves it every day.
If a parent asks their kid, did you eat the missing pie? And he points at 7 other kids and insists they told a lie. Wouldn't there be consequences? Wouldn't there be some tears? Isn't that the sort of thing he'll outgrow in some years? If a teacher asks a student why they didn't do the work, and he stomps around the classroom and he's acting like a jerk, wouldn't he get detention? Won't he get sent home? How come now that he's older, his tantrums have only grown? So why, my friends, are we here now with a toddler for a leader? How come everyone lets him slide just like his bottom feeders? And why is any of this behavior a thing to emulate? How come he's not held accountable? Why does everybody hesitate? Your hero is a man, baby, a man, baby, a little man, baby. Perhaps that was your plan, baby. An itty bitty man, baby. He only plays the fool, and boy keeps getting booed. And when the boo-boo self-inflicted, he finds somebody else to sue. A little itty bitty, really shitty, spineless chicken man, baby. If a kid cuts in the lunch line and says he got there first, and when anybody calls him out, he shows them he's the worst. Shouldn't somebody stop him? Won't somebody care? How come he takes and takes and takes while it's pretended to be fair? If a coach puts you in the big game and you strike out every time, do you blame the bat, the ball, the field, or just the umpire's crime? Wouldn't folks start laughing? Wouldn't they protest? How are you supposed to learn a damn thing if you're always told you're the best? Your hero is a man, baby, a man, baby, a little man, baby. Perhaps that was your plan, maybe. An itty bitty man, baby. He only plays the fool, and boy keeps getting booed. And when the boo-boo self-inflicted, he finds somebody else to sue. A little itty bitty, really shitty, spineless chicken man, baby.
I really hate that sad
If only
loser,
it was
Mr.
still
Newberger.
a
Who, me?
bully in the sandbox. If only.
Yeah.
But now he is Satan unleashed in the world. Literally, Satan. He is the one that the prophets spoke of as the incarnation of Satan. That's far worse than a baby.
Yeah.
It's a man who is equal parts demon and person. He is already worse than Hitler. He is worse than Stalin. He is worse than Mao. He will be the most vile man who has ever lived by the time it's over 7 years from now. So I want to play. Guys, feel free to comment on this before we do so. But my wife, as you know, has written 3 songs pursuant to this POS, confirming that he is Satan, that he is literally demonic, and he has proved that conclusion every day. So we'll play both of them. You have a comment before we go?
No, I just know that these are going to be, I was saying to Kevin before the show that layers are just so superior, and they also capture where he's at now. I get it. This is creative and it's interesting, and he probably was a jerk like that as a kid, but it really doesn't capture, they're painting him as a obstinate brat when he's, he's possessed.
Yeah,
he's out of his goddamn mind. I mean, you know.
And he is using the U.S. military to go and decapitate countries and destroy.
Yeah, that's
the
not
entire
bratty
world.
behavior. Yeah.
No. Yeah, he's Adolf Hitler with his own personal army and ICE as the brown shirts, reestablishing the Fourth Reich. This is a really, really serious problem, and I think Leah, although her songs are even more humorous, they're far more effective and biting. So let's play them.
Yeah, and accurate.
just ask the Donald Cook. It's all fake news that he a bad guy. Wonderful, wonderful. In star-spangled banner, shit-stained underwear. Believe me, we're going to drain the swamp. I've never seen anything like it. So much fake news, calling it a witch hunt. Just because we say the system is too big to rig. Oh baby, that's old school, but we're doing it anyway to make America great again. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last ride? Whose broad lies and alibis through the perilous night? Oh, the YouTube we watched so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in Iran, gave proof through the Epstein files that Trump's name was still there. Oh, say, does that copper conman wave that star-spangled banner yet that way? Oh, the land of the arrogant and the home of the dead slaves. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the arrogance. And one more thing, can I invade your country? Oh baby, baby, can I invade your country? Oh baby, baby, can I invade your country? Oh baby, baby, can I invade your country? Oh, invade your country. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed Satan at Rahab's last rite? Whose broad sex trafficking ring went on through the decades? Oh, the Truth Social we watched, so doom scrolling our doom, and the corruption, the theft, the murders and lies, the alibis gave proof through the evidence that Trump's name is still there, allegedly and unredacted. It's all predicted. Predators, grifters, unfuckables, and the cosplay president. I am predicated on who's your daddy. Oh, say, does that copper conman wave that star-spangled banner yet? Or the land of the deceit and the home of the lame? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free. And one more thing, can I invade your country? Oh, baby, baby, can I invade your country? Oh, baby, baby, can I invade your country? Oh, baby, let's invade. Believe me, we're going to drain the swamp. I've never seen anything like it. So much fake news, like my wife, it's all fake. Oh, calling it a witch hunt just because we say the system is too big to rig. Oh, baby, that's old school, but we're doing it anyway to make America great again.
Oh, that's brilliant. The
It is
lyrics,
brilliant.
the tune, the graphics, that is absolutely brilliant. You know, if X or Facebook or even YouTube were managed in a way where that which is pertinent, innovative, instructive, useful was promoted as opposed to that which is hateful and wrong, ignorant, political, and religious. That song and our disclosure, absolute proof in the 825 pages of Time of Trouble, most recent of the many books that are offered free at yadayah.com. In the Yada Yah series, that Donald Trump is the person that the prophets identified as Satan incarnate. Then it would have millions of views. That those 3 sites that we manage, although we have many of them because we are shoring up the risk associated with the thought police that oversee all 3 of them, nothing would have precluded millions of people from becoming aware that Donald Trump is Satan incarnate. Yeah. That he has been outed and identified, that the person that Christians have sought as the Antichrist is now known. And while we made that claim almost 2 years ago now, he has proven it every day, beyond any reasonable doubt. And the prophets left no doubt. So it's just amazing that we, in fact, can be in this position and articulate it as effectively and clearly and prove it as emphatically as we have. And it doesn't get any play because we're not political. We're not religious. We're not anti-Semitic. And we're not at the third grade level of the average users of Facebook, YouTube, and X.
Mm. Yeah, you compare and contrast the 2 videos. Man Baby is Dennis the Menace. Okay, cosplay is Linda Blair. I mean, we're talking about an actual, demon possession here. This Man Baby thing. It's cute. It just doesn't go far enough.
Right. It's Dennis the Menace. Yeah, it is Dennis the Menace on Maybury Street. Yeah. It's clever. I like some of the lyrics, and I have no problem with it. But it is Dennis the Menace on Maybury Street, where Star Spangled Cosplay is brilliant. It's sarcastic. It's relevant. It's accurate, pertinent to our day.
And it gets better with time. As Trump gets more evil, it just that song was better than I remembered. I love that song. The last time I heard it, it's getting better. It's aging well.
It is aging well, and it will continue to do so. Let's play another one. This is Mr. Babylon. Mr. Babylon is because the intermixing of politics and religion, which is a MAGA tradition, trying to position Trump as if he were a messianic figure, something that Trump likes to position himself as well. In fact, Trump views himself as a god. This integration of religion and politics was born and bred in Babylon. Babel is the term that Yahweh uses for it. It means to intermix and confound. And so he is called Mr. Babylon for that purpose. This is another score written by my wife, Leah. This one produced graphically by John Voight. And it is, I think, brilliant. I think Depot created the graphics for the previous one. And it also shows the breadth of artistry, because this next one is done in a reggae style, a completely different style, but to take a message that should be on everyone's lips, should be top of mind awareness, and to bring it to people in a way that should resonate with them. Let's play Mr. Babylon.
Oh yeah, yeah. Did it do ba do ba 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 da come so ay oh. Oh Babylon, yeah. Did it do ba do ba da come so ay oh. Oh Babylon, you You bitch holding them down in the ditch. You wash children, you turn to pitch. Your feast, your scribes, your priests, your imams, your rabbi, they do lie. Getting high on that narcissistic supply. Stop your wars, you capacan. Come on, well. Babylon cause all the problems. They make the wars, but you don't know how to solve them. Oh no, you don't, no. Liars make all them trouble. Oh, they make the wars make you look. No, but don't know how to solve them. Oh no, yeah. No. Oh yeah, you got your devil to fly overhead and drop your bombs upon the innocent. Well, that stuff he says, oh Babylon, let me tell you, Mr. Babylon, war is not our solution. We want you in dissolution. War and strife is not the solution. Never was, never will be. So Mr. Babylon, the copper can up yours. Babylon cause all them troubles. Oh yeah, how are you told us? Oh yes you did. They make the wars, they make them deals with those that hate her. They gonna ravage her, that's cat. Babylon, oh yeah. Oh Babylon, you be doom. Systems make all the problems. Chewing up them innocent to their problems. They got no solution. They bury their minds in some new potion. Them pray to a God that cannot save them, all going down to the grave. Oh no. Let me tell you, war is not our solution. Religion is not our solution. War, religion and strife is not the solution. Never was, never will be. So global sheriff mashing down the earth with your iron fist. You the clown. Global sheriff messing round, killing his own, taking bribes, grabbing kitty and coming with a fool's philosophy. You think that war gonna bring you peace prize? Why don't you just steal one? Let me tell you now, oh Mr. Babylon, blood dripping down your hair now, blood dripping down your collar now, blood running down your hands, blood running down your streets. Babylon cause all them troubles. Oh yeah, how are you told us? Oh yes you did. They make the wars, they make them deals with those that hate her. They're gonna ravage her, that's cat. Babylon, oh yeah. Oh Babylon, you be doom. Babylon cause all the problems. They make them wars fly those drones. Babylon cause all the problems, but them don't know how to solve them. Oh yeah. Babylon make all them troubles, suffering the unthinking masses. To their problems they got no solution. No. Yeah, Babylon cause all the problems. Yeah. Stop the children are making more wars. Hey warmonger, stop your war. You gonna kill us all. Oh yeah. Oh no.
Problems
a,
got no solutions. That was one of the. I'm sorry, Yada, but that was one of the lines in there. Problems got no solutions. These songs are like prophetic. Think about the Strait of Hormuz and all the problems and all the things Trump has gotten us involved in. They just don't have solutions. He's just gotten us involved in things that we can't untangle.
This song pulls back from a sarcastic review of the failings of a singular man. Star Spangled Cosplay blends that man and his MAGA philosophy as the man is America, and that's why it's set against a parody on the Star Spangled Banner. Mr. Babylon, though, pulls way back. And what it says is very astute. that there are four things that have a profound negative effect on society. And they're all an outgrowth of Babylon, with the definition of Babel, meaning to confound and confuse by intermixing religion and politics, truth and lies, to confuse people, confound them. These things are first and foremost religion, which is why it was featured throughout that song. Religion is the single most detrimental force in human existence. It has brought us the deadliest of all isms in Islam, having murdered 200 million people. In its first 100 years doing so, promoting rape, terrorism, pedophilia, the slave trade. All of these are things that Muhammad did routinely. Religion is what created the myth that God is a man and that men killed God, and that the most popular religion should blame the Jews for killing their God, which of course is ludicrous, but it is used to create anti-Semitism, and it's what led to the Holocaust. Religion is a horrible thing, and it's all based on lies. The second is politics. And politics, for most of humans' history, has been inseparable from religion. It is the priests ordaining the king and saying that he was the authorized leader from God, and then the king returning the honor by telling the world that the religion of the priests is the only authorized religion and you have to submit to them. This integration of the two has been the glue that has made it impossible for average people to ever be free of church and state. It has subjugated and oppressed more people than anything else. The third is militaries. There is the false perceptions that militaries provide life and liberty, when in fact they're the source of death and subjugation. They rob people of their lives, of their freedom. They're an exceedingly destructive force of religion and politics, whom they serve. And then the fourth is conspiracy cults. MAGA is a conspiracy cult. And these cults of personality, particularly the one around Donald Trump, have existed for millennia. There was a similar cult around Genghis Khan. There was a similar cult around Caligula and Vespasian and Titus and Hadrian. There was a similar cult around Akiba. There was a cult for a while around Paul, the author of the religion of Christianity. There was a cult around Muhammad, cults of personality. There was one around Adolf Hitler, one around Joseph Stalin, one around Mao Zedong. They're very, very common, and they're devastating for humankind. These are the fourth things that all come together now in the satanic possession of Donald Trump and the demise of the world, which is why over the next 7 years, you're going to witness that he is the most destructive human who has ever lived. Now, there are people who make claims. There's others who prove them. 825 pages. I have absolute and total proof that Donald Trump is who I say he is. I don't make the claim quickly or easily. I prove it. Everything I do is that way. I have written 5 volumes in the Goddamn Religion series to prove without any doubt that Islam is a death cult. 4,200 pages of evidence from the Quran and Hadith, chronologically arranged, meticulously documented, that leave no doubt that Islam is the most destructive force on the earth today. I did the same thing with Christianity. I proved that Paul lied, that he created the myth of Jesus Christ, and that And it is nothing but a counterfeit of the actual Messiah and chosen one and king. 5 volumes of this as well. Juxtaposing what Paul said against what God said, particularly when Paul allegedly quoted God to prove his point and never got a single quote right. Every single one of them is misquoted, which proves emphatically that Paul lied. There was no Jesus Christ. The whole thing is a lie. And that lie is devastating to the world today, precluding people from knowing the truth. No one has ever done these things. We have. And it should garner more attention than anything in human history. And yet it doesn't because, A, people don't like to read anymore. People don't think anymore. People aren't moral anymore. They have forfeited their nesama, their conscience. People are too easily swayed by conspiracy cults, religion, politics, anti-Semitism. Evidence and reason don't resonate with them anymore.
Right.
So you're hearing it proven in your witness. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I'm going to quote the last line of the song, paraphrase it a little bit, because it's important to, from man baby to Mr. Babylon. Mr. Warmonger, Mr. Whoremonger, you're going to kill us all. Let me rephrase that to the folks listening and say, no, Mr. Warmonger, Mr. Whoremonger, he's going to kill you all. I'm going to be fine. It's right. You all that don't Yada Yah that are going to have an issue. This Hasatan is going to kill you all.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, I did more than just prove that Christianity is a lie from beginning to end. Mm-hmm. And by the way, you don't think I'm telling the truth here. You just go to yadayah.com. You don't even have to read the books. They'll read themselves to you. They'll even turn the pages for you. Go to yadayah.com. They're free. Read Christianity if you think that I'm not telling you the truth, because I killed Jesus 1,000 ways from Sunday. Go and read Goddamn Religion, which is the most devastating book ever written against Islam. And it cites only Islamic sources and only the oldest Islamic sources, and it's totally irrefutable because of the documentation that it provides. But after you've read those 10 volumes, then what I want you to do is read An Introduction to God, the Yada Yah series, of which there's another 9 volumes on top of those 3. The Coming Home series, of which there are 3 currently published, and there'll be another 3 within a week or 2. 6 total. I want you to read the Observation series, of which there's 5 volumes. Because I go to the Dead Sea Scrolls, translate them for you, and render Yahweh's testimony in an amplified fashion that is more accurate and complete than anyone has ever done. And then I draw intelligent, rational conclusions that I support and provide for you that are relevant to your life. And at this point, there is nothing else that compares to it. And you will either avail yourself of it, or you'll be among those that he will kill us all. He will kill all of you. Actually, that's not quite correct. He will kill billions of you. But in the end, there will still be those who are conspiratorial, militant, religious, and political left. And God has a plan to eliminate all of those. I know how he's going to execute his plan. I'm involved in the execution of his plan. And we, with light energy, will wipe out every remaining religious, political, conspiratorial, anti-Semite on the planet before allowing a remnant of Yisrael and a remnant of Goyim back into the garden. That is the future. It is for certain. And it's all going to play out over the next 7 years. So I would suggest you go to yadayah.com and start reading, start listening. It was interesting. I listened to a podcast last night. It came up in my feed on YouTube. And it was Mark interviewing David, 2 Gen Zers. I don't even know if it's posted yet. I haven't seen it on the chat. And it's mostly David talking. He's had a rough life. He hasn't fit in anywhere. He doesn't want to fit in anywhere. He is who he is. He's exceedingly bright, moral, rational. And that's why he hasn't fit in anywhere he has ever been. He doesn't even want to fit in now. Don't blame him. He goes through the process about a third of the way through. He says that, I think it was his mother that listened to Shattering Myths back in the day when I had the syndicated radio program.
Yeah.
And she said, you ought to read the guy's books. He'll appeal to you. You're an atheist. You're driven by evidence and reason. You hate religion. This guy will appeal to you. And he said, oh, sure, I'll go and disprove him just like I have disproved every other religious lie. And he said, so I started reading. And I used my same technique to disprove everything Craig was saying. Except I couldn't. And he says, even the places where I disagreed with him, he then presented his case and the rationale to support that case. And I said, yeah, it makes a lot more sense in my view. So he's right on that one. He says, I did that for 3 years, trying to disprove everything that he said. He says, he writes well. It's really a bright fellow, and he's always willing to give you the evidence behind everything. So he's a really easy guy. If that's what you want to do, he's made it easy to try to disprove him. I did it for 3 years. I never found anything that I could disprove. And said, I finally realized I wasn't disproving anything. I was proving it. He said, so I decided that I would become covenant, and I started celebrating the Mikre. I didn't communicate with anybody because, I'm that's not my style. I don't want to be part of a group. I just want to know the truth and to embrace it. So since that time, I've read every one of the books. By the way, there's 35 of them. It's a lot of books to read. Still haven't found anything that I could disprove. It really is an interesting interview. My guess is that you've heard it.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I have not heard his.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Welcome to the family.
Yeah. It was great seeing, because we got a little bit of his story on the Y to Z whenever they first opened up the four of them and everything. But it was really great for Mark to be able to give him the platform to really drill down on who David is. Going to college, having a split major philosophy of all things, and using those methods and everything, that he learned in college to, like you said, to dig into the Yada Yah series, and it was great how his mom, I see her like every mom in the background, hoping, but knowing that you can't lead the horse to water, so just, hey, this is it, do your own thing with it, and
I saw her interview.
It took, so it was a really, really good interview that Mark did with David. Absolutely.
Yeah. Pretty outstanding. If you're a person who's just saying, I'm skeptical, I don't know who this guy is, that's a lot of books to read before I invest that kind of time. I want a little insight. He's a very interesting person to it, because he's the furthest from a joiner. He doesn't even like to communicate as part of the group. It may have been finally me figuring out the kind of the ultimate test that Yahweh has when we look at what was going on in the garden and why Adam didn't pass muster, and who Adam would become later in life, and how God would solve the problems of Eden, and that it requires us to engage. And there's no free ride. You have to engage. You have to demonstrate that you're worthy of Yahweh trusting you to empower you beyond 3 dimensions into 7 dimensions, where you could literally think the universe out of existence if you were a malcontent. And I think part of it was, this is not something you can just keep to yourself. You have to engage. Then maybe that's what caused him to respond. And maybe it was the fact that there were people like John and Mark who were younger, and they reached out to him and said, join us. And then they took the time to get to know each other personally, and now hugely expanded, I think, the appeal of Yah's message in a very different way, even though there is no confusing David. He is a very bright and articulate fellow. Also a really talented musician. I like him. I like him. And I like Mark because Mark's so damn real.
He is.
Mark says, I have my struggles in life and I wear it right on my sleeve, and I'm not afraid to come out here and tell you I'm a flawed guy that's got his life, together, and this is meaningful, and I'm going to pursue this because this is important. John's the same way. It's really sensational to see what is coming out. And of course, as I said before the program, Will, you're the only guy that's outproducing me now in terms of the number of shows. So we're going to have a special page just for
we're on quite a roll here
for you and Roger Bankston's up there, giving you a run, but his are usually 5 to 10 minutes, and yours are longer. But you guys are good at it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but David, I always I admired him, like Kevin said, just listening to his other interviews. And then his mom just did an interview, right, Kevin, with Mark Miller, Amy. And I can really relate to him because I remember, Yada, when you kind of first put out the clarion call that we're going to start doing social media, I was just so happy with my Psalms and listening to the Shabbat show and reading the books. And I didn't want to join a group. And I knew this was going to be a different group. I knew this was God's family. But I could have written a book on your whole philosophy on men and numbers are terrible. Groups are terrible.
Correct.
I wouldn't join companies. I wouldn't join companies that had unions. And this is way before God, or I just couldn't stand it. So I was like, oh, come on. We're forming a group. This is like the last thing on planet Earth I want.
I agree with you. So, it's when, after we've been together 23 years, and he says, I want you to start completely anew and social media, and this is what I want you to do. I want you to start talking directly to my people and look them in the eye and tell them what you know. And you want me to do what? Yeah. I mean, I've been allergic to social media all my life. I had never posted so much as one word on social media ever.
Right.
And God tells this is what I want you to do, and you say, right, I didn't get to this point by telling God no, and so I'm sure there's a reason for it, but. Good grief. And, you get involved in social media and it is really disgusting. I mean, it is a swamp out there. Yeah. And you say, why, can you run me by one more time? Why are we doing this?
Why do we have to do this? Exactly.
Yeah. Why are we doing this?
I think the timing is right for of course it's right with Yahweh, but this is just boot camp. First of all, it's taking these people because we're not naturally going to group together. And first of all, we have to get to know each other. We have to build trust with each other. We have to learn what each other's skill sets are.
With Yahweh.
And we have to, and with Yahweh. And how are we going to be able to work together to, in effect, and if you drop us all in on the 8 or whatever in 2030 on the Temple Mount and say, oh, hey, Craig, I'm Kevin. Nice to meet you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you've lost that time. You've lost that bonding. You've lost that ability to work as a team.
Right. And that's why I think it's important to get the people who have begun to show up behind the scenes or have been there all along behind the scenes. JK lives now in Alaska. I've asked you to make contact with him. He's trying to get his internet straightened out. But we need to have the likes of JK so that other members of the covenant family know who he is. Know where he's been, know how long we've been together. It's important. It's important to do things like Depot, where Depot has made such a tremendous contribution and has been part of the covenant family for almost 20 years, beginning in Africa. We need to know just how this resonates with people and how deeply it is, and how, even though we are part of the same family, we don't, none of us have an affinity to congregate. We're just not congregators. We're like Yahweh, and Yahweh it does not like humans when humans are many. He likes. There are certain humans he likes independently, but nonetheless, we have to function as a covenant family, and to impress Yahweh enough that He is willing to trust us and to prove to one another that we can be trusted together, because there's not only the most difficult 7 years in human history awaits us, but then there's 1,000 years where God's going to give us the opportunity to redo the effects of the garden and deliver a better result. And it's our job.
Yeah, the vastness of the universe is very, very appealing. Let me just say that.
It is. It is. There's not going to be a lot of souls, and you know, it's the way it's going to be is you're probably going to have a few 100 billion galaxies per soul. So if you want to
even the 1,000 years with a diminished population on the planet is appealing, but the vastness
that's also appealing. Yeah, there's
is
going
much
to be
more.
Very few people, and the whole planet's going to be restored to the conditions of Eden. That has tremendous appeal too. You know, it's impossible once you really understand what humans have done to one another to disagree with God's point of view, that one person has the potential for good or bad and are typically bad. Many people are always bad, no matter if it's religion, nation, conspiracy, politics, no matter what it is. When people like, you know, Dennis the Menace here, he was bad individually, but when he became the nominee of a Republican Party and is president of the United States and meets with other world leaders, he's goes from a bad spawn to, you know, demonic.
Yeah. They are not sending their best.
They are not. All right. What do we have next?
This always kills me when guys like, you know, I hate Lawrence O'Donnell, but he's totally right here. But, you know, these days, I don't know if you guys experience this. You have all these idiots over the years. We've come to know them as idiots, but they're right about Trump. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to admit that, but they are 100% correct when they talk about Trump. Trump became
Lawrence O'Donnell is a person that I would have had poo-fooed in my previous days prior to Trump becoming president and the rise of Satan, because he represented the Marxist ideology of Democrats. And Marxist ideology is devastating. It's the most devastating ideology probably in the history of the world, because it has outpaced Islam now in terms of death count, with Marxists being responsible for 200 million deaths in the last 100 years. And it's devastating in terms of freedom and prosperity and productivity and everything else. So I'm opposed to the leftist ideology of such an individual, if that's what you were speaking of. And of course, the leftists have all embraced almost universally anti-Semitism, which is revolting as well. But he is a very sober, sane, informed and articulate opponent of the specter of Donald Trump. And it says it's time to acknowledge what has become tragically obvious. The Trump administration is essentially acting as a massive criminal enterprise. It lies, steals, extorts, and murders while cloaked in the awesome authority of the state. It is a crime spree that puts Al Capone to shame. You know, it was 2 years ago that I produced this series on Trump's criminal enterprises. And I began 2 years ago to explain the level of criminality that we were witnessing in Donald Trump. So he's a little slow on the uptake, but nonetheless, good to see it.
Yeah.
Now, that said, the fact that Trump is a con man and thief is among his least horrid manifestations.
Yeah.
He is the great deceiver, destroyer, and killer of humanity. It's the other aspects of Donald Trump that will be far more damaging to the human race than will be his criminality.
Yeah, I'm not going to defend Trump on this. I'm just going to go a little bit further here and say Lawrence O'Donnell didn't go far enough.
Yes.
When has there been one politician that has ever gone into office and come out poor? When has there been one politician that has served people and then come out of office poorer than they were before?
Look at
it's
Bill
always
Clinton.
been a criminal enterprise.
He was bankrupt and a nobody with all sorts of terrible allegations against him. He comes out and he is a billionaire. You look at Barack Hussein Obama, that never so much as engaged in any business. He didn't even ask if you would like fries with that burger. Has absolutely no business acumen at all. And he comes out and he's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. Being president of the United States is a criminal enterprise. You look at George W. Bush. He was bankrupt. He had nothing. It wasn't for Osama bin Laden and the deals his daddy connected him with, he would have been absolutely busted. And he comes out as a very wealthy man.
Look at Congress.
Donald Trump
Yada,
just took it to a new level to the point that it was more overt.
Yes, it's more overt. It's far worse with Donald Trump than it is with the others. They were more clever. Let's George W. Bush's deal with Saudi Arabia is, I will redact your complicity in 9/11, but what I want from you is a speaking fee. You agree to pay me $20 million and I'll come and deliver a speech for $20 million. So it's not officially registered as a bribe.
Right.
But that's all it was.
Hopefully we get to the religious grifter in chief here. Her post on her, $100,000 isn't enough because the treasure lines up in heaven, So hopefully we get to that.
So
post
yeah,
soon.
here we are. This is a really sad situation, but there appears to be only one justification or motivation for Donald Trump. I'm going to decapitate them and destroy Iran too. I'm the peacemaker and I'm negotiating with Iran. The Straits is closed. The Straits is open. We're blockading the Straits. We've destroyed them militarily. We won the war, and that is because of shorts on oil. It is apparent that there's a huge insider trading ring that is tied to Trump's pronouncements in advance of Trump's pronouncements that are shorting bent crude, keeping it artificially low, and that they resolve their short positions when Trump makes an announcement that he has a deal to end the war and the Straits are back open, and then they go through the process over and over and over again, and that's the levers: buy oil, sell oil, resume war, pause war. And Trump is now even saying that he will sell $100,000 access to his tweets before they're delivered, which is insider trading. It's a crime. Everything's a crime. A bunch of grifters.
Unbelievable.
And people die.
Do you think that for years now I've understood that what happens on the stock exchange floor is a show, right? The guys with the papers and the throwing and the bell ringing and the whole 9 yards. It's a show. Okay. All the trading, the real trading takes place online now, right? Everything is about milliseconds.
No. It's true with NASDAQ.
NASDAQ.
The NASDAQ, it's all online. But no, there's antiquated processes with the New York Stock Exchange.
The old exchanges are as antiquated as they ever were. Like you said, the NASDAQ, that's where you get the high frequency traders come in and they can move markets by buying the dip and doing all these things.
Yes.
But they're actually behind these exchanges technologically.
Particularly the New York Stock Exchange is. The NASDAQ is an all automated process. And what NASDAQ does, because it's an all automated process, the faster the computers, the faster the connectivity that people have, the more they can make money by maneuvering their assets and the speed to which they hedge and maneuver. In other words, the stock exchange is no longer a way of investing in companies and that can build the country. It's a way of playing with money. It's a way of making and losing money by gambling. It's like going to Las Vegas and playing with money. So it's really a bad system, and the system actually precludes research, because if you have done your homework, then you can be accused of insider trading and making money based upon knowledge that the average person doesn't have, which just means that they want you to play stupid and just be part of the gambling game. And stocks trade for based on perceptions, not on reality. One of the great examples is today is the first earnings report of one Elon Musk on SpaceX. I told everyone, that SpaceX was nothing but hype. They had nothing to sell. Starlink only showed modest profits because of the amortization of satellites over 20 years that only have a 3 to 4 year functional life. That SpaceX itself has nowhere to go, and that the Grok AI that was incorporated into it is not among the leaders in AI, and there's really no function of AI, because if AI succeeds, it puts people out of work, and if people are out of work, then there is no economy, and there is nobody to actually put AI to work if there's no one to buy the product, because there's no one working. And so it was a cobbled together mess of insanity. And then today, but nonetheless, Trump violated SEC rules, and he hyped the stock and talked about going to Mars, which will never happen. Talked about colonies on the moon, which also not going to happen. And of the future of AI, as he says, everybody's going to be rich and no one's going to work, which is also not going to happen. So he essentially lied and violated SEC rules, which, if he were not bribing Donald Trump, he would be prosecuted for and incarcerated. Then you realize that Tesla's done. Mm-hmm. I mean, Tesla rose because it was protected and financed by the U.S. government that gave a $7,500 coupon to anybody as a tax credit for anybody that bought a Tesla vehicle, while putting 100% tariff on any competitor to Tesla. So it created a con for him, and he almost bankrupted it nevertheless. And so when he destroyed his reputation and stopped working at Tesla to go off and do other things, his cyber truck tanked so that they can't give it away. The Model S has been discontinued, and it was the one that he built the company on. And he has disbanded several of his factories, all to go in on a Optimus robot, where he has no technological advantage. He is way behind the curve in terms of the development of these systems. He's going to power it by a chip that he hasn't even made a prototype of, and no one has ever been able to mass produce the level of chip that is necessary to drive it in the United States. We don't have the culture to manufacture them. He's built massive factories to manufacture a chip that he hasn't even made a test example of yet, and massive factories to manufacture Optimus, a robot that has no purpose. That thus far, there is nothing that a humanoid robot can do that would have any value to people, and the actuators and rare earths and all the kinds of things that it needs, there is no supply chain to support it. I mean, he's just gone wacko wild on selling hype. Mm-hmm. And it's going to all come crushing down. And, at this point, Tesla has lost their margins. They can't support their margins. They've had to thrash their margins. They've lost market share like it's goo going through a drain in China and in Europe. And their sales are declining. Their margins are declining. And yet the company is trading for 300 times earnings, as if people are just lemmings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a house of cards for damn sure, and it's amazing that people are still buying into it. But that's probably why he bought X, is that he could have his own hype machine, which is illegal, for his stock.
My point earlier was trying to get to the faster the computers, the faster the trades, those sorts of things. And when we start rolling, I'm sure they are, AI into that, where it's always, buy the rumor, sell the news, that this idea that AI is actually making a lot of trading decisions, and as doing so based upon what this idiot is saying on a daily basis. So where a normal person could look and say, look, that information coming from the White House is, I'm a hedge fund manager, I still call a guy at the New York NYSE to make my trades, right? Watches Donald Trump and says, this guy's full of crap, I'm not trading on this information, but AI will, because it's
AI is capable
programmed
first of all, AI is completely integrated in the U.S. military now. And AI is completely integrated into the banking systems and into utilities, such that it is a complete controlling force. And the stock market is a religious belief system, as is the U.S. currency. The only reason the U.S. currency has any value is because of the faith that is placed in it, because it is actually worth next to, in fact, it's not worth next to nothing. It is actually a liability. And so it is all based upon faith, and AI is going to end up destroying all that. No, that and Trump and other co-conspirators.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little late on the uptake here. We've said this for a long time, that Trump in the building of the Fourth Reich has his own private army. He has replicated the brown shirts with ICE. Why not just send them to invade Iran, and we could kill two birds with one stone. We'll end that war in embarrassing fashion for the United States and Trump, and we'll get rid of ICE. Win-win. But we've been saying that for a long time. But anyway, thank you, Don Winslow. Appreciate you catching up.
Not to mention, the military won't take any of the guys in ICE.
No, they won't.
They don't meet the IQ threshold.
Yeah, because people don't study history. They join ICE and they support ICE, not knowing what Trump's doing. ICE is no different than Hitler's brown shirts. And what happened is that Hitler used the brown shirts initially to threaten his adversaries and secure his position of power, because he didn't want to have to go through the aggravation of elections. That is what Trump is using ICE and to intimidate Americans for. That's why they spend so much time in blue states intimidating people. But what happened with Hitler is that Hitler decided that being in control of Germany was not enough, just as Trump has decided that being in control of America is not enough. He wants to be the boss of the world. Now, you can't use a domestic army like ICE or the brown shirts to control the world. You need a real army to do that. And it was the German army, particularly the SS, who said, we're not going to go fight your wars externally and leave our backs vulnerable to the likes of these idiots that are part of the brown shirts. So you want to deploy us, they have to go. The same thing is going to happen with the U.S. military and ICE. They're not going to go off and deploy with a private army in America, and their backs are vulnerable. So they will do the same thing. And in history, it's known as the Night of the Long Knives, when the military took out the brown shirts. And it's the same thing's going to happen to ICE.
We'll call it frozen alligator Alcatraz.
Okay, there you go.
When they put all the ICE guys in alligator Alcatraz, they imprison them all and put them in.
Frozen Alcatraz.
Doesn't have the ring to it, does it? No.
Yeah, it does. Well, it's clever. This is the face of evil. Boy, ain't that the truth?
Yep.
Understated, but true. You're looking at Satan. Oh, what a piece of shit this woman has become.
Yeah.
Laura Ingraham. I mean, just a complete useless Trump tush talker. That is who she is. She has all the stench of a Trump tush talker. She wants to bellyache that Dems are communists. They're not really communists; they're Marxist. And most would define themselves as socialists. That is stupid. I will agree that being a Marxist is stupid, and most Marxists have been anti-Israel since the Grand Mufti and Hitler forged their alliance that led to the Holocaust. So, I understand Marxism bad, but MAGA's worse. In every way you would look at things, if you were to now be in a position where you were to make the poor decision to vote and to engage in the political process, which God does not want you to do, you can't be covenant and engage in the political process. So you need to step away from it. But if you were to be one who is trying to decide now, which is the lesser of two evils, it's clearly a Marxist America would be less evil than a MAGA America. A MAGA America is going to destroy America before that ever happens, however.
Yep.
This was interesting.
Yeah, Trump's lawyers now.
This is a list.
Roy Cohn, Michael Cohen, Rudy Giuliani, Alina Habba, Boris Epstein, John Eastman. They just go on and on and on. And they're all going to follow suit. Trump is having them do things that are criminal. And Trump will not. He does not exonerate his lawyers. They take the fall and they stay fallen. Look at Michael Cohen. He endured for Donald Trump, disbarred. And Michael Cohen was his fixer.
Yep.
So everybody that ever supports Trump is ultimately devoured by Trump. He is the Hannibal Lecter of politics, and he's been a Hannibal Lecter type, of destroying everybody that's been associated with him really his whole life. It's just gotten worse now.
I bet old Judge Janine Pirro is hoping she dodged a bullet, huh? Getting out what they getting was good.
Yeah, I understand why she had to do what she had to do, and Trump's going to hate her for it. Truth does not go very far in that administration.
All those years of support with her on Fox will do nothing for her. He will turn on her in 2 seconds.
Yes, I think she's already out.
Yeah.
But shame on her for even going there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played this video yesterday. It needs to be underscored. Israel needs to know that it cannot survive the rabbis, that Judaism will destroy what's left of Israel if they're allowed to, that the black suits have become the black plague. The Haredim are the black death of Israel. They are the most vicious of parasites. And this is not a recent thing. It is rabbis that created Christianity, and it is the religion that is the wellspring of anti-Semitism around the world. It's the religion that gave us the Holocaust. They trained Paul to misrepresent God as he did to create the Christian New Testament. And once he created that God-forsaken religion, the rabbis had all of the tools necessary to nip it in the bud, and they didn't. They didn't do what I did in the volumes of Christianity, and they should have, and they didn't. Shame on them. Because they didn't, they subjected Jews to 2,000 years of hell. Yeah. Rabbis created Islam. Without them selling Talmud stories to Muhammad, the Quran doesn't have a religious veneer. It's nothing but a criminal enterprise. The whole religion dies right there in Arabia, and you never hear from it again. And so it is rabbis who made Islam the death cult that it is today. And they need to be held accountable for that. And now it is rabbis who are vocally denying Zionism. And Zionism is Yahweh's word, Zion, T-S-Y-O-W-N, means signs posted along the way. If you're opposed to Zionism, you're opposed to Yahweh, because that is his term, and it is a powerful term that links he and Dod, his firstborn son, our Savior, the Messiah. So for Judaism to be opposed to Zion and Yahweh to be resolute in favor of it means that one of the two was wrong. And if you have a religion where you claim that the Torah is your foundation and he is the author of the Torah, is the sponsor of Zion, and you're opposed to it, there is no scenario which you can be right. The rabbis are dead wrong and they're destroying Israel.
Openly, too.
Here they're calling
before the show.
Yeah. They're
not doing Netanyahu any favors.
They're using the derogatory term of the Muslims, a religion that the rabbis themselves are guilty of creating. That scum that created the Quran and the religion of Islam are using their own misappropriated term. Kafir is from kafar, and kafar are those who are covered as a result of what Dode achieved by fulfilling the Moed Mikre. And so it's a purloined term that was transferred from the Talmud to Muslims, used now against Jews and Goyim the world over. Now the very culprits that created this lie, this deadly lie of Islam in the rabbis, are wielding the term against the IDF and Israeli police that defend the country. They're the scum of scum. And Israel, until you recognize that Judaism is your enemy, you have no hope. You are going to be among those whose demise we will regret, but we can only tell you it's going to happen over the next 7 years. You're going to die as a result of these plagues, the plagues of Islam that the rabbis created, the plague of Christianity that the rabbis created, and the plague of the Haredim, which is their most recent deadly and parasitic creation.
Yeah, what's going on there?
Yeah, the Elon Musk was offered a deal. You go back 3 years ago, and when Trump was running for president, trying to go on the revenge tour, which is what he is on now, he knew he was going to lose. And he particularly knew he was going to lose when Biden, who was comatose, was replaced with Cackles. Because as dumb as Cackles was, Trump lost badly to her in the debate. It was over. And so Trump pulled out the bribery card. And he held it over a man's head that he knew had the wherewithal to buy an election. And in the last minute, he convinced under blackmail Elon Musk to invest $300 million in 7 swing states, which swung the election. Otherwise, Trump would be in jail today and bankrupt. And Elon Musk knows it and said it. But Trump owns it because he is still such that Trump would turn on him, already has, and will bankrupt him because that's what Trump does. So it's a very interesting thing. Now he's talking about $1 billion in this next the midterm elections that Elon is going to spend just so that he also stays out of jail. So they have now a demonic duo, these two men. So, but look at the damage. You know, Elon Musk was the guy with his great program that was going to save the government billions of dollars, and he went in as a swashbuckler with his chainsaw, and they had little X parading in and out of Marine One and Air Force One, and oh boy, they were going to be the great saviors of America. And yet under Trump's 2 terms, less than 6 years, almost 1/3 of the total debt of America has been accumulated under that period of time. It's bankrupting America.
With
trillions and trillions.
That's unbelievable.
Yep.
Wow.
I think it's 11 trillion out of 40 trillion is Trump's responsibility of the federal debt.
That's what it says here.
Boy, the copper con. Lie. It's all a lie. So Trump, his last deal was that he was holding off on decapitating Iran. Decapitating. What happens if a person's decapitated?
They're dead.
They're dead, right? So he's talking about, I'm going to decapitate Iran. Before I decapitate Iran, I'm giving them another opportunity to make a deal. They made a deal. You signed the deal. You dishonored the deal. They're not going to make another deal with you because they know you can't be trusted. You can't negotiate fairly, and you won't honor the deals that you've actually signed. So there's no purpose in making a deal with you. But then he just came out and flat out lied and said that I'm holding off because the Iranians begged me to for a deal, and so we're meeting now, and then we're going to meet again formally on Monday, and then we're going to meet again on Tuesday. We're going to get this deal done, and then he announced the next day that the deal included complete opening of the Strait of Hormuz, no taxing or control by Iran, complete turnover of all enriched uranium by Iran, no return of Iran's stolen assets, and no remediation of the damage that the United States has done to Iran, and no requirement for the U.S. to leave the Middle East, which are all the opposite of what was agreed to previously in the Memorandum of Understanding. And of course, the Iranians said, we're not meeting with him. Our senior leader Supreme Leader has made it very clear. We will not again talk to the Americans until they honor the terms of the Memorandum of Understanding. When they honor those terms, then we will negotiate on the basis of those terms, but not before. And that hasn't happened. So he was literally reporting another lie. It must have been like the 50th time he has done this.
And they just eat it up in the
I mean,
in the press.
it's like they just like punk this guy all day long. He'll say, "Hey, we're having a meeting on Monday," and they'll say, "No, we're not."
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Anything he
no,
says,
Archie
like,
said,
we're not begging you for anything.
No, we're not. We're not even returning your calls. But no, we are not going to negotiate with you. You know, we think you're the devil.
Yeah, we have our deal. You surrendered.
You surrendered. We've got your signature on it. So how many times must Trump lie before people stop listening? This bit here by Araghchi is actually hilarious. He's just turned Trump into a global clown. Araghchi is actually a fairly articulate guy. He's a Muslim, and that means that he's got a lot of really weird views, but he is infinitely brighter and more articulate and moral than is Donald Trump.
Weird views? Did you just say he has a lot of weird? He's a Muslim. He wants to kill everybody. He worships Satan.
Sort of an understatement.
I was a little taken aback by that. I was like,
you could rephrase that if you want. Yeah.
that is the most commentary, commemoratory of a Muslim I believe I've ever heard Yada be. Yeah. He's got some weird views.
Yeah. You ain't getting better than that. Yeah.
Araghchi is an interesting character. Speaking of weird,
he's Persian. That's what you like. That's
the Quran is a death cult inspired by Satan, and it is a criminal enterprise, and it sponsors terrorism. And Muhammad was a ruthless a terrorist. He was a pedophile. He was a rapist. He was incestuous. Those were his better qualities because he was also a mass murderer and a slave trader. And he was absolutely not a prophet, and Allah is absolutely not a God. And I prove all of those points in the 5 volumes of Goddamn Religion. Because the Quran is Satan's book, because Muhammad is Satan's messenger, does not necessarily make every spokesperson who is a Muslim as vile as Allah or Muhammad. Araghchi was educated in Western philosophy. He is a very well-educated man who, unfortunately, was raised in a country with a very sick religion, and he represents a regime that promotes that exceedingly disastrous demonic religion. You very seldom hear Araghchi say anything about Islam.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I can't remember the last time that Araghchi said anything about Islam.
No honorable Prophet Muhammad, no Allahu Akbar, no. Yes, I agree.
No. And so one of the things that I have striven to avoid is anecdotal evidence. I think it is always wrong to condemn a religion or exonerate it on the actions or words of a person or group of people. I made the decision to excoriate Islam based upon Muhammad and Allah, the very first Muslims, and what the religious texts themselves reveal. I did the same thing with Christianity. And so in the case of Araghchi, since he very seldom mentions Islam and his public statements are rational, well-informed, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt with weird as opposed to satanic.
Fair enough.
I know it sounds funny coming from me, but I'll stand behind that.
Yeah.
I'll own it. There is this new movement among MAGAites to demonize Fauci. Now, Fauci was a bad man. Fauci stole the research of others to get his PhD. His dissertation was not his homework. Fauci was up to his eyeballs in funding the Wuhan Virology Research Center, and he knew all about the cause of COVID-19 without ever acknowledging it. And it's a shame that he did so. Many people died because of that lie. He knew exactly what happened in that lab. He knew the gain of function research that was taking place in that lab. He knew the nature of COVID-19. He knew the Chinese complicity in it. And I said that back in February of 2020, and I proved it back in February of 2020. At the time, of course, all of those Democrats and everybody in the media slandered anyone who would make those claims. And yet they've now been shown to be and proven to be true. So I have a problem with Fauci, and I have a problem with Fauci in that he was not pursuing science, and that his strategy for COVID was wrong. The vaccines did not work. Wearing face masks, the average person who was not infected wearing face masks didn't work. Putting sick people in the hospital was disastrous. Telling people they can't work anymore, depriving them of their livelihoods and their freedom was counterproductive. And I proved that as well, because I did an analysis of the places where they didn't do those things and the death rate, and the places where they did those things and with the death rate. And the evidence showed that restricting people's privacy and liberty and their ability to work was counterproductive. Plus, it destroyed world economies. So I have real issue with the man.
Yeah.
And I particular issue with the COVID vaccine, because I'm a huge proponent of vaccines. Vaccines are the single best thing that humans have ever done in terms of prolonging life and particularly eliminating childhood agony. Vaccines are exceedingly effective, and the negative consequence of a vaccine compared to the positives are overwhelming. It's one of the best things humans have ever done. It's not true with the COVID vaccine. It just didn't work. The first vaccine had a useful life of less than 2 months. The booster, 1 month. The booster's booster, matter of weeks. And so it was worthless, counterproductive to even go through the process. And it turns out that COVID-19 was fear porn. that 85% of those who were listed having died of COVID-19 had multiples of other comorbidities. And it was wrongly blamed on COVID-19 when they would have died from any one of the other 5 comorbidities. So there's a lot of problems. But my biggest issue with him is with the people of the United States and many of the world. You were willing to capitulate your freedoms and your livelihoods. You were willing to believe liars. You were willing to alter your life, that of your family, your well-being, your freedom. You were willing to give up all of that on a lie. And it changed the world forever in my perceptions of the world forever. How easy it is to use fear to control people and to make them do things that are counterproductive.
Works
and how
every time.
Yeah, how the overwhelming preponderance of people will fall prey to it. So if you want to find a boogeyman in the Fauci story, look in the mirror.
We've used fear to manipulate people for 6,000 years.
Yeah, we're beginning to freeze here again on our programs. Hopefully that solves it. But yeah, that's my issue on Dr. Fauci. Look in the mirror. Israel kills children as a hobby. The problem is not Netanyahu, it's Israel, the society as a whole. This is Professor Norman Finkelstein, a Jewish scholar.
Self-loathing Jew.
Asking Finkelstein's opinion on Israel is like asking Stalin's opinion on Hitler and Nazi Germany. That's all that man has ever done his entire life. He's a self-loathing Jew. He is a Marxist who hates himself and hates his people and hates his country. He is scum of the earth. He's no more a scholar than the man on the moon. And if you want to promote him, Perry Logan, all you're doing is saying, I'm an idiot, ignorant, and a moral anti-Semite too.
It's reprehensible. Israel kills children as a hobby. And this is coming from children, and I'm presuming they mean Gazans and Muslim children, whose entire purpose from their mother's point of view is to martyr themselves from Allah. But Israel's the bad guy, kills them as a hobby. How many children did Israel feed during this thing in Gaza? How many children, where did children go to the hospital in Gaza?
Yeah.
They go to Israel, to Israeli doctors.
Israel feeds them. Israel drops leaflets on buildings before they bomb the building. Listen, I didn't want Israel to enter and destroy Gaza because I knew that it would be used by assholes like this to lie, as he is doing. And it was easy to see that with young people becoming more Marxist and more willing to ignore history, ignore the fact that Islam for 14 centuries has been genocidal and has imposed apartheid on the world, and that Islam is responsible for the deaths of now 250 million people, and that in Islam, the best of the Muslims torment children through Muhammad's pedophilia. They rape them. In Afghanistan, we learned that when Americans liberated a city from the Taliban and the elders, Islamic elders, took back over the city, the first thing they would do is play bocce ball, find a 4 to 6 year old boy that was pretty and tie him butt up on a bed and gang rape him. This is Islam. You want to know a religion that kills babies as a hobby? It is Islam. Jews have had to be the victims of Islam for 14 centuries. And unfortunately, there isn't a Jewish scholar on the planet that's willing to tell the truth about Islam. So,
yeah,
Finkelstein, you're a piece of shit.
He's repulsive. He is. Yeah.
I'll ask you, gentlemen, a question. How did the people in Noah's day respond to the warning of God's coming judgment?
What warning?
Wasn't the plan. Wasn't the plan. Noah didn't write anything down. Noah didn't go door to door knocking on doors saying, "Hey, this is the." No,
I don't
wasn't the
remember an
plan.
announcement.
Bingo.
That is true.
God's intention wasn't to save the Nephilim. His intention was to wipe them out. God didn't say, boy, I regret having created people that don't listen to me. He didn't say, boy, I regret people who aren't on their knees praying to me. Look at Moshe's even got a Bible in his hand, or Noach's got a Bible in his hand. And rather than lifting up a hammer, he's lifting up a finger and he's preaching to them. God never said once, I want you to go preach to them. I want you to try to save them. No, he was trying to eliminate them. The whole purpose of that Teba, the vessel of insights, and Noach and his 3 sons and their wives, was to save Nesama man. Those with a Nesama, a conscience, had become many, and they had become evil all of the time. And Noach was the person who intervened to say, let's reboot. My sons and I and our wives, we will repopulate this region, and we will eliminate the problem. That was the purpose. The purpose was to kill them, not to save them.
It was not the Abraham theory. What if there's just 40 or even 30 or even 15, 10? What if there's just no? It's everything. Everything.
Because the answer was there was none. That was the answer. There was none. And today, the answer isn't that there's none. There are several hundred that know the truth. But our job is not to preach to anybody. I'm not here to tell you that you need to listen to what we have to say and that you're going the wrong way. I don't really give a rat's ass what you do. My job is to equip the home team so that we're prepared to do the job that God wants, and that I help enable the home team such that they earn Yahweh's trust and the trust of one another, so that we collectively are prepared to do the job that God wants us to do. But that job does not entail preaching to save anyone. Well, we're going to lay out, and we have offered for free, the reasons that religion, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, are rotten to the core. Reason that politics is something that God wants us to avoid, and conspiracy and militarism. We're openly condemning the things that God condemns, but we don't condemn them to try to save people. We condemn them so that those who would be open to listen have the clutter knocked out of the way so that the truth is visible again, because religion and politics and conspiracy littered the truth, the way to God, with their lies, just like this one here. Like the lie of Jesus Christ is a lie put right on top of a profoundly important truth. And so when mankind piles their lies on top of the truth, you have to impugn and excoriate the truth, or the lies, for the truth to become visible again, for people to understand what the truth actually represents. So we'll do it for that purpose, and to restore a recognition in Yahweh's name and Dod's reputation, but we don't do it for any other purpose. And even then, we're far more interested in pushing people away than we are bringing people into the covenant family.
Yep. We're separators.
We are separators, and that's God. God is also a separator. I mean, one time I had thought, boy, what a terrible tragedy it would be to end up in Shamayim and have a first meeting with God and say, I'm sorry, we just didn't do enough to save enough people, and I'm sorry that there's only a few hundred here as part of this harvest. Obviously, we failed you. No, that's not going to be a regret at all. Not for him, not for me. The only regret would be, I'm really embarrassed about so-and-so. I don't know how we let that person slip through. They obviously don't belong. We're going to have to figure out a way to resolve this problem, but I'll take the hit for it. But what would you like me to do to resolve this problem? So
glad you're going to be having those conversations.
Yeah, too many is going to be a much bigger problem than too few. I'm going to tell you that for sure.
Yeah. Ooh.
Why don't we know that to be the truth?
Man, I got clips to play anyway.
I got clips to play. There we go. Oh, the Twistian preacher. This is Donald Trump's favorite Twistian, and she is saying, I don't want your coins. They make too much noise. I want checks between $1,000 and $100,000. If you write checks to me for $1,000 to $100,000, I'll get your name written in heaven.
That's quite a bold claim.
And somebody writes her checks.
That's not a bold claim.
And somebody writes those checks. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that's not a bold claim. That is a vile, evil, demonic claim. That's what that is. Yeah, she is the devil's apprentice right there.
Yeah,
but it's true, really, for
She's
every
spooky
preacher and
too.
every priest throughout time. They do it for the money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And they know. Yeah.
And they know.
Yeah.
All of the
she
successful
knows.
ones know that they're doing it for the money, that it's all a fraud.
She knows.
Of course she
Anybody I've ever had a conversation with about Yahweh's name, because that's where we always start whenever I meet somebody and talk.
Yes.
Anybody that's ever been to seminary, they know the truth.
Of course they do.
I mean, they absolutely. So, I mean,
they don't know the whole
pastor that
truth,
see,
but they know enough to know that the religion that
what they're
they
doing
are
is
going to
lying.
make their living promoting is untrue.
Yes, they know something's dreadfully wrong here, but that's okay. We're going to roll with it.
Yeah, when I presented Jerry Falwell, who was the most famous Christian televangelist of all time, with the 20 points of these are the reasons why it's impossible for Christianity to be true. And he was in front of his professors and senior chairs at Liberty University in Hebrew and what they called Old Testament. And I presented it all. And at the end, he said, yep, everything you said is true. There's not a single point that we could refute. We know it is that what you're saying is true, and therefore the religion is false. But if we were to say those things, the people that fill the collection plates and sit in the pews of my church would no longer come. Those who fill the envelopes with checks to support this university would no longer send them. And if you say these things, they will label you a kook. All a fraud. So never in the history has there been a war in which 80% of the country was destroyed, 100% of the population displaced, and 50% of the children. Oh boy, it's called a genocide, all caps. All right. So let's start at the beginning. Gaza is not a country. Muslims started the war. And perhaps such a poster should look at photos of Japanese and German cities after the last war.
Yeah.
Just maybe they might learn something. And then they should also look at the origins of the word genocide. And what they would recognize that it is the destruction of an ethnicity. But Gaza is not an ethnicity. Palestinians are a bogus term. There's no ethnicity ever of Palestinians. So there is no ethnicity being cited here.
This is that old UN definition of genocide.
Yeah, but the UN definition is not a functional definition. It's like we're going to use a word that has a definition because it was coined to discuss what happened in the Holocaust, where 6 million Jews, more than half the European population, was exterminated. That is the origin of the term. Yet the population in Gaza increased over this period of time.
That's right.
It's the antithesis. It is the antithesis of genocide. And yet people lie enough to believe the lie. And the headline here is trust in Trump. They believe Trump is telling the truth is to be criminally insane. And this is a mental disorder. Trump derangement syndrome is real, and every MAGA member has it.
Yeah, the absolute most Israel could be called out for is being bad at genocide, attempted, because It's a 3 square mile area, right? Gaza's a little bitty place, and there are more. And you look at it; it's piles of rubble. How can anything live through that, right? And yet there are more Gazans today than there were
when we began.
When it's,
you know, you look at the 57 majority Islamic countries, and the Jewish population of those countries has been decimated by 99%. That's textbook genocide. The Jews who survived there over a period of time, they were the victims of apartheid. They had Domini status. 57 of 57. In Israel, the population of Muslims has skyrocketed to the point now, if you include Judea and Samaria and Gaza, along with the citizens of Israel, there are actually more Muslims in Israel than there are Jews.
How's that going to work out?
So,
Yeah.
Israel
You're gonna find out.
is the one country that is the antithesis of apartheid and genocide. Unfortunately, that is Israel's mistake because they have made their bed with the devil. But they are the antithesis of genocide and apartheid. And that's why it's just so incredibly insane, immoral, and ignorant that there are Muslims and MAGAs that and Marxists that promote such drivel. Oh, this is a video, and it just quickly shows a van pulling in front of an ambulance, and actually, it looks like the Humvee or whatever it is, the military transport, pulled off from the curb, and then the ambulance that was not blaring its siren showed up, and they never even saw it. And there'd been no reason for them to see it, so it's just a abnormality of the brief moment that's being captured here. And they want to say that Jews are killing Pakistanians, allowing them to bleed out. But the truth is that the Muslims in Gaza use hospitals and ambulances to store, to hide, and to transport Islamic terrorists and their weapons. And if you use hospitals and ambulances to do those things, then you have weaponized them. And so it's your fault entirely.
Yeah.
Context.
yeah, you don't want Israel or anyone for that matter to blow up schools and hospitals. Don't put guns in schools and hospitals. Don't hide your weapons in school. Don't hide your terrorists.
Don't have your
in
headquarters
schools.
buried underneath them.
It's underneath them.
Yeah.
And no, they'll be safe. They'll be fine. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, this one really hits. Ollie
North. Yeah, I met everybody up the food chain that Ollie North reported to, as well as the man who was responsible for determining whether or not the Defense Department was complicit in this crime of negotiating with the Islamic regime that Jimmy Carter had brought back into Iran. You know, you don't like the Islamic regime in Iran. Well, it was Jimmy Carter that undermined the Shah and brought them back in. And Jimmy Carter got bit by it because the way that the Ayatollah thanked him for returning him to power in Iran was to take the U.S. and make them hostages. And to solve that problem and win the election, Ronald Reagan pulled off a dirty trick, which was to trade missiles for the release of those hostages, which was a crime in the United States. You couldn't negotiate with terrorists. Plus, it was criminal what he did. And it was Ollie North that carried out that plan, and he was guilty as hell in doing it. And so now the very man that gave the Iranians those missiles is the one who is on Fox, joining the Trump tush talkers, saying that Iran can't have missiles. Oh, what a wicked web we weave. Yeah, here's just an interesting post. And the military advisor to Iran's supreme leader on negotiations with the United States. And what it basically says is that, doesn't basically, it says, in no uncertain terms, what it says is that Iran will not negotiate with America or Donald Trump again until such time as America honors the memorandum of understanding that it signed. And that says that Israel is checkmated and muzzled, and is point one. It says that Trump can't threaten war against Iran nor attack Iran. It says that the Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Iran, and that while Iran has 60 days where they won't charge anybody for anything, after that 60 days they can charge anybody for any amount that they want, and that there is no transport through the Strait of Hormuz that isn't controlled by Iran. They can, Iran's all frozen assets stolen from Iran have to be returned to Iran. War reparations, which total over $300 billion, have to be paid by the United States to Iran. That the United States must abandon the region and abandon the destroyed bases in the region and not return. There's no discussion about what Iran can and cannot do with mining uranium or enriching uranium. Only that Iran will not build its own nuclear bomb. Chances are they already have one. But nevertheless, that is the entire agreement. Trump signed that agreement. And the supreme leader and the Iranian people and the government of Iran. So there'll be no negotiation with America until America honors the agreement that it signed, and until such time as all of those terms are put into place, that America does exactly what it agreed to. And until that time, there'll be no negotiations with Iran. Anything to the contrary is just a lie. And that even then, Iran's not going to negotiate past the terms delineated on the memorandum of understanding. But keep in mind that at this point, Trump has gone from demanding regime change and assuring that he was going to get it, to recognizing that he made a bigger mess, that the regime change that he got was the worst possible outcome, to demanding that the Iranians no longer enrich uranium, and there is no chance of him getting that. They continue to enrich uranium. To demanding that Iran never has a bomb. Well, they didn't have a bomb before you started this, but you've given them every incentive now to have one. To demanding that the Strait of Hormuz be open, which was open before the war, and because of this war, it's been closed, and you have no chance of prevailing in getting that to occur. That everything he has done has been counterproductive, and there is no solution. There's none. And it's devastating for Israel, because ultimately Iran's going to use their most important weapon against Israel. The fact that it's 90 million people to 7 million Jews. And they're going to march in an army of 4 million Muslims. Mm-hmm. And they're going to destroy Israel hand to hand, knife to knife. The IDF will be useless. That's what the prophets have said. So, Israel, you played yourself into a real pickle here. You were checkmated. You lost. Netanyahu proved to be a disaster to you. Trump is the great betrayer. You trusted the man that your own prophets told you not to trust. Really stupid, Israel. And you don't appear to be any smarter now, and you don't appear to be anywhere near a new government, because you can't form a government without encouraging the Arab parties to join it, and the centrists of Israel is not going to accept that, and the centrists of Israel are not going to accept another term of a man that makes his bed with parasites. So what do you got, Israel? Where are you going with this?
Yeah, one choice.
Turn the whole world against you.
Yada Yahweh.
That's your only hope. YadaYah.com. That is your only hope. It's your last and best opportunity.
How's it go? Listen, learn, live.
Live. Or don't. They turned the great statement in Devarim. Listen, Israel, Yahweh is your God, Yahweh is one. And they turned that into a goddamn prayer rather than listening. Pretty sad. All right, we'll do one more and we'll call it a show. We're up over 2 hours. That's longer than we said we were going to go on these things. And what do we have here? The last one is typical X. So this is a claim that Donald Trump has also had accounts closed on the same money laundering scheme by J.P. Morgan Chase and Deutsche Bank, but it's not true. Capital One was the only one with the courage to do so. Deutsche Bank is still supporting Trump. They don't have the same rules that American banks operate under. And J.P. Morgan Chase didn't have the courage or character to explain why they closed accounts, and still won't release why they closed accounts because they have no character. So you've got Capital One alone that had the good sense, the character, and the fortitude to announce why they closed those accounts, because he was laundering money in criminal enterprises. Why pile lies on top of the truth when the truth is more than good enough? You just discredit the truth when you do it.
Yeah.
I think that is their hope with the Epstein files, that enough smear goes around that no one looks to.
Yeah, that's true. Let's pull up one more. Yeah, so here's my least favorite poster on X. He's talking about that on 27th of September 2024, Israel dropped 85 bunker buster bombs right in the middle of Beirut, mind you. And 7 seconds later, Hezbollah's underground bunker in Beirut, Lebanon, had killed Hassan Nasrallah and changed the world forever, was his claim. No.
Yeah, sure.
No, you didn't accomplish anything. Literally nothing. And you learn nothing by it. While anti-Islamic, informed, rational, and moral people applauded the demise of this Islamic terrorist, he was scum. Delighted he's dead. Applauded his demise. It changed absolutely nothing. Because the focus was on Hezbollah rather than on Islam. And as so long as the focus is on Islamic clubs, Al-Qaeda, the Islamic State, Hezbollah, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, the Houthi birds. So long as it's on Islamic clubs and not on the religion of Islam, and people don't bother to know the truth about what the Quran and Hadith said or who Muhammad actually was and how he presents Allah, until people know that, all they're going to do is make a bad situation worse. The United States invasion of Afghanistan and Iraq and bombing Iran, mess we've made in Syria and the Sudan and Somalia and Libya, all of those things made bad situations worse because we didn't know what we were doing. Ignorance is deadly.
Yep.
All right, my friends. Always a pleasure.
Right.
I won't use, what was the word that I've forgotten the word that you didn't like, not silly things, but
Weird.
Okay, weird.
Okay.
Yeah, weird may not have been
Some
the best
weird
pick.
ideas.
Yeah, it may not have been the best pick. But nevertheless, thank you for participating. Love you. Appreciate everything you're doing, and thank you, Rich. We had a little more stable presentation today.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll be able to venture out into other places, and we'll have Starlink work better for us. And we're in the middle of an island, so you only have so many options, and being able to broadcast. So let's hope that we have a more favorable result. We have a lot of effective shows, so I don't know why it just decided that it was going to crap out us on a particular show, but it certainly was
technology.
tough yesterday. Yeah. In fact, we're frozen again right at the moment. No, we're unfrozen now. Yeah, technology is tough, and we only do live streams, so we need the technology to work to get the message across. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We are
We
going
will catch up
to
with you
sign
later in
off.
the week.
We'll be back with
See
the
you later
luminaries
today.
hopefully later today.
Take care, guys.
Hey there, thanks for tuning in. That was Fetch. Gotta run now. Catch Yao on our next podcast.